Tonight, taking to the streets.
No justice, no
This time,
peace.
it's high school and college students across the country protesting the Ferguson decision as President Obama takes executive action. Vladimir Duthier reports. Cyber Monday has grown too big for humans to handle. Don Daler with the robots assigned to get the packages out on time. Should the president's daughters be off limits to online critics? Bill Plant on today's resignation over comments about Malia and Sasha. And Michelle Miller with high school dropouts getting a second chance.
I'm not smiling either.
If they'll only take it.
Mahia, explain to me what's going on. We've come too far for us to allow you to give up this easy.
This is the CBS Evening News with Scott Pelley.
Good evening. Students in many places around the nation marched out of class today to protest the decision not to indict Officer Darren Wilson in the shooting of 18-year-old Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri. At the White House today, President Obama spoke of, quote, a simmering distrust between too many police departments and too many communities of color. He called for spending $75 million to expand the use of body cameras worn by officers. That's something that Michael Brown's parents had asked for. Vladimir Duthier begins our coverage in Ferguson.
No justice, no peace.
Students marched through Clayton High School today at 12:01, the moment that Michael Brown was shot and killed in August. It's also the one-week anniversary of the grand jury decision not to indict Officer Darren Wilson. It was just one of dozens of similar walkouts by high school and college students across the country. In New York, thousands marched through Union Square. In Los Angeles, protesters gathered outside the police department. In Cambridge, students staged a die-in in Harvard Square. As these protests were underway, a 16-member commission appointed by Missouri's governor to bring peace to Ferguson held its first meeting. In a town that's nearly 70% black and a police department that's 94% white, its goal is to address the breakdown of trust between police and residents. It's led by community leader Reverend Starsky Wilson and businessman Rich McClure.
We can only get to solutions when we all own that we're in a place of brokenness. We require healing, and we all have to come to the table in order to get that done.
The commission becomes a place to do that, and it becomes a place where we learn that you don't have to see eye to eye to be able to walk arm in arm and to move forward.
Those are some really big issues to tackle. How realistic is it that you're going to be able to accomplish some of these goals?
It'll be a long-term assessment of whether we've accomplished some of these goals.
We got to fight back.
The youngest member of the governor's commission is Rasheen Aldridge,
Back up, back
a
up.
20-year-old student who's been on the front lines of protests in Ferguson every day. Today, he was at the White House, joining the discussion about race and policing with the president.
He was very open to hearing our thoughts and our opinions on ways that we can move better as a nation together.
The Ferguson Commission is not expected to issue its final report before September of next year, Scott, but it hopes to make interim recommendations before the Missouri legislature reconvenes in January.
Vladimir, thank you. One procedure that failed in Ferguson was Officer Wilson's attempt to call for backup. His radio was switched to the wrong channel. Bob Orr has been looking into a remarkable technology in California that sets help in motion the moment a gun is drawn.
Deputy James Wright is a top marksman for the Santa Cruz County Sheriff's Department. He is also one of a dozen deputies now carrying a 9mm pistol specially equipped with a small tracking module designed to alert headquarters whenever he unholsters or fires the weapon. It's high-tech backup for an officer who patrols without a partner.
I could draw my weapon and fire it, and dispatch would already be notified that I had done that prior to me updating them.
So there is a sense of reassurance there for you in that you know help's on the way.
Yes.
Santa Cruz is one of 2 departments in the United States now testing the technology. The system is simple. Using the chip in the gun and the officer's smartphone, it sends this yellow alert when an officer draws his gun and this red alert when the weapon is fired.
You can see how light that is.
Jim Schaff works for Yardarm Technologies, the Silicon Valley firm that's developing the tracking system.
When an officer uses their weapon in the field, they're not always able to call immediately on the radio, and we cut that response down time to seconds.
Schaff used an air gun to demonstrate how the technology works.
This tells me the weapon's been fired and what time.
It'll have the location, time, number of shots, all of that information will be captured.
Santa Cruz Sheriff Phil Wowak says the system may save lives, and it will provide a clear record of what happened in any officer-involved shooting.
This product will give us the ability to know the exact time that that officer drew their weapon, the time between the drawing of the weapon and the firing of the weapon, and then the exact time between each individual shot.
So this is not about tracking the actions of your officers or keeping some kind of database on how often so-and-so pulls a weapon.
Not at all, not at all. It really is about knowing when a person is engaged in a hostile confrontation and getting them the assistance they need to make that situation safe.
Sheriff Wowak said the gun tracking information will be used to adjust and improve deputies' training. The police union so far seems to be on board, Scott, and the early field results show this system does work.
Bob Orr in our Washington newsroom. Bob, thanks very much. Well, it's Cyber Monday for holiday shoppers, and by this afternoon, sales were almost 8% higher than last year. That would be the fourth record in a row. Don Daler now on how retailers are keeping up.
Shoppers are expected to spend $2.6 billion online this Cyber Monday. To handle the increased demand, retail giant Amazon has added 15,000 robots to its facilities nationwide. Each can carry 750 pounds. David Clark is a senior vice president at Amazon.
The little orange robot goes out and picks the right pot of inventory and brings it back just at the right time for the person to pick the item out to go in that customer's shipment.
Shopping, like shipping, is also going high-tech. Desktops account for almost 80% of online sales, followed by tablets and smartphones. Jill Polari is with IBM, which tracks online purchases.
Are consumers getting more savvy, though, in their online shopping habits?
We had larger amounts of sales online, but the average ticket was lower, so people are shopping for deals. And people are using their mobile devices when they go in the store, so they're checking prices.
Oh, $199.
Some retailers are holding back their discounts until evening to take advantage of home shoppers. Walmart predicts 1 in 5 won't start deal surfing until after work. Cyber Monday is also morphing into Cyber Week, with some retailers spreading out their sales over a number of days. But waiting to click on that buy button may be a mistake. According to Adobe's digital index, prices are expected to rise steadily until the end of the month. The very best bargains already happened on Thanksgiving Day.
Cyber Monday may soon become a thing of the past. Retailers are seeing more growth of online shopping in the days leading up to it. Scott, expectations are next year Black Friday sales could surpass Cyber Mondays for the first time ever.
Don, thank you. Well, you don't often hear violent rap lyrics at the Supreme Court, but today the language there was raw as the justices heard the case of a man who spent 3 years in prison for what he wrote online. Jan Crawford on free speech in the digital age.
Separated from his wife and fired from his job, Anthony Alonis turned to Facebook. His postings, most directed at his wife who left him, were violent. "I'm not going to rest until your body is a mess, soaked in blood and dying from all the little cuts."
I'm tied to the bed and set this house on fire.
Alonis said his posts were like lyrics from rap songs, violent but not serious. He was convicted for making threats, a felony, and sentenced to prison. His lawyer, John Elwood, is urging the Supreme Court to set aside his conviction, saying the posts are protected under the First Amendment because Alonis did not intend to harm.
You can hear this stuff on the radio any day of the week. And the point of it is that, just because you say it doesn't mean it's meant literally.
The justices clearly struggled with the complex case, a major test of speech on the internet where people often push the envelope. Throughout the hour-long argument, they appeared concerned about making it too easy for the government to prosecute online speech. As Justice Sonia Sotomayor put it, "We've been loath to create more exceptions to the First Amendment." But they also seem troubled about letting people like Alonis off the hook for speech some may consider threatening, especially in domestic situations. Justice Samuel Alito, this sounds like a roadmap for threatening a spouse and getting away with it. But cracking down on speech also could have broad implications, especially for young people who blog and tweet and post all kind of provocative things on the internet and may not realize, Scott, their words could be considered a threat.
And a decision by the court expected around springtime. Jan, thanks. Today in Hong Kong, hundreds of police battled pro-democracy activists who are demanding political reforms. It's been a 2-month standoff in the former British colony that now enjoys partial autonomy inside communist China. Seth Doan is in Beijing for us tonight. Seth, what happened today?
Good evening. Student leaders encouraged demonstrators to surround one of the main government buildings, temporarily shutting it down. But that sparked some of the worst clashes we've seen with police, who responded with pepper spray, batons, and even water to try to disperse crowds. Now a high court in Hong Kong has paved the way for police to remove the camps at one of the main protest sites. This as overall public support for these protests has waned, and the stock market has dropped in Hong Kong. Scott, and one of the signs that this is an increasingly desperate protest movement, we've now heard that several of the student leaders, including 18-year-old Joshua Wong, have vowed to go on a hunger strike.
Seth Doan, our man in China. Thank you, Seth. Are elderly drivers a danger on the road? You might be surprised by what a new study says. And Bill Cosby steps down from a position he's held for 3 decades. When the CBS Evening News continues. Drivers of a certain age often get a bad rap, but we were surprised today by a study from AAA. Here's transportation correspondent Jeff Pegues.
I've been blessed with some good health.
85-year-old Bill Wallace has been driving since the 1940s. He says he'll continue to slip into the driver's seat as long as his health allows.
I don't want to cause an accident. I don't want to be in one either.
1 in 6 cars on the road is now being driven by someone age 65 and older. Despite a reputation for being slow and collision prone, a new study by AAA has found just the opposite. 90% of seniors say they haven't had an accident or even a moving violation in the past 2 years. And they've heeded the warnings not to talk on their cell phones while driving. Only 34% of those 75 and older say they've done it. That's compared with 82% of drivers aged 25 to 39. Uric Grabowski is AAA's research director.
Older drivers tend to wear their seatbelts more often. They tend to drink and drive less, and so they tend to be generally safer drivers. When they do have a perceived inability to drive, they tend to self-regulate.
Which may explain why 76% of them favor health screenings for older drivers, and 74% believe older drivers should have to renew their license in person. 92-year-old Billy Buxbarg, she'll be 93 next month, still drives to work most weekdays. How do you feel behind the wheel?
I feel great, or I wouldn't be behind it.
Accident rates among the elderly have been falling for years. Scott, there were 31% fewer fatalities in 2012 than in 1997.
Experience counts. Jeff, thanks very much. Many commented on the Obama's daughter's body language at a White House event, but did one post cross the line? That's coming up. Bill Cosby resigned today from the Board of Trustees at his alma mater, Temple University, a position that he's held for 32 years. Cosby's been accused of sexual assault by more than a dozen women. He said that he wants to do what's best for the university. Also resigning today was Elizabeth Lawton, a congressional aide whose Facebook post about President Obama's daughters, Malia and Sasha, sparked a firestorm. Here's senior White House correspondent Bill Plant.
The snarky posting was about the Obama girls at the annual White House Thanksgiving turkey pardoning, and it violated the unwritten rule that children in the White House are off limits.
You guys want a pedal?
Try showing a little class, Lawton wrote on Facebook. I'm guessing you're coming up a little short in the good role model department. Dress like you deserve respect, not a spot at a bar. And don't make faces during televised public events. Lawton wasn't the only one to suggest that the first daughters looked bored or maybe just like teenagers. But her post was the most critical, and went viral, even though Loughton apologized a few hours later. I quickly judged the two young ladies in a way that I would never have wanted to be judged myself as a teenager, she wrote. The backlash has continued. Tweets and blogs on the web called for Loughton to be fired. White House spokesman Josh Earnest said he was taken aback that a political staffer criticized the first daughters.
I was a little surprised about that. But I will say that there are, that she has posted an apology to her website, and I think that was an appropriate thing for her to do.
Republican National Committee Communications Director Sean Spicer agreed that Loughton's comments were inappropriate. But Scott, he also slammed media coverage of the incident as appalling. He said in a tweet that the press never covered similar comments by Democrats as intensely.
Senior White House correspondent Bill Plant. Thank you, Bill. Coming up, our remarkable series on high school dropouts taking a hard road to a second chance. Since July, we've been following young men and women, high school dropouts, who are getting second chances thanks to the National Guard. We've watched them evolve through months of rigorous training at an academy near Los Angeles. Tonight, Michelle Miller goes along for their first visit home.
Pick a line and just go ahead and get started. Okay?
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
When 17-year-old Krista Hopkins arrived at Sunburst Youth Challenge Academy in July, she was a year behind in school and looking to learn from the mistakes she made back home.
I was really disobedient. I'd always talk back to my teachers and also to my dad. I just want a life-changing experience, and I thought I can get that from here.
In the past 4 months, she's overcome plenty of mental and physical challenges, but today could be the start of the most challenging. She and the rest of the cadets are getting their first 3-day home pass. For many of them, it's the place where their lives went wrong. For Hopkins, it's a place where she learned words can be used to say something painful.
You said that words hurt more than anything.
Words hurt more than anything, especially by someone you love.
Who were you talking about?
I was talking about my dad, because when I was messing up during school and all that, he'd always say you're gonna end up like your mom did. I don't know, that kind of affected me a lot because my mom messed up really badly. I don't want to end up like my mom.
Is that her there too?
Hopkins hasn't seen her mother since 2007. Chris Grimmett is not her biological father. He adopted her when no one else would.
I could have been homeless or dead, but he decided to take me in.
You appreciate him?
I do. I really do.
What is it like to hear her say that?
I'm glad she appreciates me, because I wanted there for a long time. It's like there for a while I thought for sure we were going to end up being enemies.
Push up, jump. Push up, jump.
When we first saw Edward Tucker, his issue with anger was clear.
Get him up! Get him up!
Where do you think it stems from?
Not really having my mother around.
The second Sunday of July, intake day at Sunburst, was the last time he saw his mother. He was obviously disappointed when she didn't show up on Family Day.
I really love her to death. And I hope for the best wherever she's at. To be honest, I want her to be there.
She's been in and out of his life since he was 3. So his grandmother, Lynette Richardson, has had to step in.
I can't really put a reason on why she leaves, because she's not an addict or anything like that. She just goes. And I always tell her when she comes back, don't leave. Stick it out.
Is your grandmother enough?
She's more than enough. That's the best thing in my life. Because I wouldn't be anything without her.
Nothing comes in my house that's not supposed to be here.
Monday, it was back to the base.
Welcome home.
But not everyone would return.
Are you serious? So what is she saying so far?
Cadet Vanessa Mejia is a member of Sergeant Edwards' platoon.
Explain to me what's going on. Because we've worked too hard. We've come too far for us to allow you to give up this easy.
He called her back twice, pleading with her to finish.
Tell her I'm not going to give up. She says it's family problems. And she'll regret it come tomorrow if we don't get her back in here today. We'll see.
Despite Sergeant Timothy Edwards' strong pleas and even a visit to her house that night, Cadet Mejia did not return to Sunburst. So far, 8 teenagers have dropped out since they began in July. 208 remain. And Scott, our next segment will be all about those drill sergeants who are so dedicated to this program and why they're sticking it out.
And we'll see that story tomorrow. Thanks, Michelle. That's the CBS Evening News for tonight. For all of us at CBS News all around the world, good night.